Hola, SAP developers. Muy buenos días, Santiago. I hope you guys are doing really well. So yeah, today, thank you very much for joining. This is basically a follow-up sort of session from a previous live stream that I did regarding Steampipe and how to basically query your BTP account. I will share the details in a bit so that you can see them. But yeah, so I think we can probably get started. Let's see. Okay, so I want to mention one thing before I start. So today, for the first time, I'm trying to do multi-stream. What does that mean? This that we're doing right now is actually being streamed to YouTube and to LinkedIn. So as you can imagine, there are two chats that I need to sort of monitor, and I'll try to do my best to monitor both of them. I don't know how that will go, but yeah, I'll try to keep an eye on both of them. So in my setup, I have a computer here just dedicated to check out the chat, and yeah, I hope that I'll be able to keep an eye on it. Okay, and I also have a YouTube chat here. So yeah, I have it there. So in case you want to send any messages, I'll be able to see your messages there. Okay, so I think we can get started. So let's see. I think I should probably get started with what Steampipe is, in case you're not familiar with it. So previously I mentioned about a live stream that I did not that long ago regarding the SAP BTP plugin for Steampipe. So this is the recording of it. You can check it out. I'm going to share this URL so you can check it out a bit later. But yeah, so in that live stream, I basically go through how to query the service and also how to see the different tables that are available, so you can get familiar with what is possible. Today, the live stream will focus on how we can install the plugin and what's required to basically set it up. Okay, so yeah, first of all, Steampipe, it's a very nice command line utility that allows you to, as you can see, basically query your cloud services out there. Okay, so when I first interacted with this, I was trying to query an AWS account, and I remember thinking like, oh man, this would be so cool if it would be possible to have the same sort of power, for example, for BTP. So DJ, yes, I actually didn't share any details about my coffee. So today's coffee is from India. It's hi to anyone from India that's watching this live stream. But yeah, so this is a coffee from India, monsoon type, which is something that I haven't tasted before. I bought the recent batch of coffee that I bought, and I was pleasantly surprised. I really like it. It's beautiful, and it prepares some beautiful espressos as well. I'm not having an espresso today. It's just one of those normal Bialetti Italian coffee. Not machines. It's not a machine, but yeah. So it's beautiful. I really like it. So for those of you that don't know, I actually roast coffee. It's a hobby of mine, so I have a roaster at home, and yeah, it's great. So enjoy your coffees if you're having a coffee now. Okay, back to Steampipe. Yeah, so you can query your services, right? And in this case, like for example, like you can see here that you're able to, for example, query your Slack account or even other types of account. You can see what's possible in the plugin section. So you see many very popular services here that you're able to configure in your Steampipe command line utility, and then query those services from within it. So there's a plugin that was recently released, is now available in the Steampipe hub. Is the SAP BTP plugin. Okay, so this was published, I think, early this year. So I think it was maybe the 3rd or 4th of Jan, something like that. So not that long ago, honestly. But yeah, check it out here. You can see, for example, all the documentation regarding the plugin. I'm just going to share this URL. Hi, Ajay, how you doing? Forza da Massa, the audio is very loud. Yeah, I'm using, it might be coming from my microphone. So yeah, maybe if you can turn it down a bit on your end. I'm not sure how I'm able to control the volume that comes out from my microphone. But yeah, so cool. So we have the documentation here. So yeah, have a look at it. You can get familiar with it, and you can see basically what's possible. Now, I want to bring your attention to something here, which is the tables. This is what you're able to query using this plugin. Okay. So as you can see, you can get information about the directories that are available in your BTP account, global account details, sub-account details, also the different entitlements that you have, for example, and even the data centers where a particular entitlement is available. Okay. Each one of these tables, if you go to one of them, so let's pick a sub-account, for example, has some examples that you can use here. I will not go through every single example, like I basically did that in the previous live stream, but yeah, it's basically what I showed there are the queries that are here. So you can get a taste or get familiar with basically what's possible in your when you use the utility. Okay, cool. Yeah, here you can check out all the details. You can also see, for example, the different columns that are available. So in this example, I didn't include all the columns, but here you can see for the schema all the different fields and also the types of those fields and what each one of those fields is. So yeah, check it out. It's good. There's been a couple of versions. So the latest version is 0.1.2. I pushed it a few days ago. And basically this new version, what it includes is it's a simpler mechanism to authenticate against your BTP account. And that's what we're going to see today. Okay. Now, in case you are curious, like how is it that this command line utility is communicating via that plugin to your BTP account? Well, under the hood, it's leveraging the core services for SAP BTP API. Okay, so you're able to. Okay, I'll reduce that volume now in my OBS. Just check out if it is sorting a little, no problem. Okay, sorry about that. Maybe the volume is a bit better now. Please let me know. I hope that fixes it. Okay. So in the end, this is leveraging the core services for SAP BTP APIs. So whenever we're querying, for example, the sub-account details, it's actually communicating with this REST API. So the accounts services API. Okay. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the core services for SAP BTP APIs. If you are, please do let me know on the chat. Yeah, I'm interested in learning if you are familiar with the APIs. Cool. Okay, so I guess it's a matter of getting started, right? Now, I've previously downloaded, I don't want to bore you with the details here on how to download and install the actual CLI, but in this case, for example, for macOS, I remember installing it using Brew, so it's just Brew install and this. You can check the version, the latest version is 21.3, but here you can find the instructions on how to install it in the different sort of environments. Okay, so yeah, just so you are familiar with them. But yeah, so in my case, I'm running macOS, so I installed it for macOS, and I think it would be good if we just go to terminal now. So yeah, let's go ahead, and I'm not as I mentioned before, I'm not going to install Steampipe. I already installed it. As you can see, I installed it using Homebrew. Okay, and let's just check which Steampipe version I have. Yeah, that's the latest version, so that's fine. Fortunately, they didn't push a new version today, because if not, then that would have been different from the version that's on the website. But that's okay. So now let's have a look at for example, in Steampipe, what are the plugins that I have in my local computer at the moment. This takes some time because it ends up checking also the connections that we have configured for Steampipe, and I'll show you what those connections are. But in this case, you can see that I have 3 plugins, right? The Steampipe one, the AWS one, and RSS. So this is quite cool because in this RSS one, for example, I'm able to actually create an RSS feed, and it will show me the details for the RSS feed. Okay, but yeah, so I mentioned connections before, and just so you are aware, oops, here. So for example, when you install Steampipe will end up creating this folder, that Steampipe, right? And under config, you'll be able to see basically the different connections that you have configured. In this case, we have AWS, RSS, Steampipe, that, but we don't have anything related to BTP, right? So once we install the plugin, then the Steampipe command line utility will automatically add a new connection here, which is the BTP connection. Okay, we will see it in a bit. But here we don't have anything, so it's basically clean. So I'm going to install the plugin. For that, I'm just going to go back to the BTP plugin. I can copy this. So let's copy this and go back to my terminal and do Steampipe plugin install AJ Maradiaga BTP. Enter this. And as you can see, now it is actually downloading the plugin to my computer. Okay. So in case you're wondering, why is it that the plugin is named AJ Maradiaga /BTP? In the end, this is a community project. So it's not really SAP software. So don't expect going to support.sap.com or something like that and expect support for this utility or this plugin. Yeah, in the end, it's a community-driven project. So if you find any issues, I guess the best way to communicate them would be to get involved, for example, on GitHub. So as you can see, the source code here is on the AJ Maradiaga. Yeah, just remind me later of this. And here, yeah, just create an issue, for example, right? If you find any issues. Or, for example, there are many things that we could talk about issues, and I'm actually planning on doing a future live stream just focusing on troubleshooting for the plugin, so that in case you run into any problems, then you'll be able to know how to solve them and how to basically fix them. Okay. Yeah. So, that being said, community-driven project, so that's why the AJ Maradiaga is there. And cool. So now we install the plugin. Okay. So now if we run again the config, right, we will be able to see that we have a new connection there. Okay. So that btp.spc is basically my new connection, right? So now if we have a look at what that BTP SPC is, you can see that there are many things that we can configure for this new connection. Okay, we can configure a username, we can configure a password, we can configure a path to our service key, and that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to show you, for example, what is that you need to do in your BTP account in order to get the credentials required to actually use it in your Steampipe plugin. Okay, So, and also there are some other parameters that you're able to sort of overwrite from what's in your service key path. So for example, let's say that you want to configure a different URL for your account service or your entitlements, all that sort of stuff. It is possible. Now, you'll notice here that there is an access token. And this is the variable that you can configure. And by the way, all the variables that you see that you can configure in this config file, you're also able to set them up as environment variables. And you can see that those details are included here. So for example, in the case of the access token, if I want to configure an access token as an environment variable for my account, then you just need to set this environment variable, and then the plugin will end up picking that up. So in case you wonder what's the precedence, for example, what would the plugin end up prioritizing, that's documented here. Here in the credentials section, there's a resolution, and it basically tells you, you know what, we end up prioritizing basically environment variables. After that, it will end up going through the values in in the case of the service key, for example, and then lastly it will be the config file. So, but at the beginning, it's like everything is like prioritizing, for example, environment variables. So that's something good to know. So you're able to override these variables. In reality, the minimal configuration that you need for a plugin, for example, is this here, right? All you need is basically username, password, and service key. So let's go and get a service key, right? That's something that we need first. So let's go ahead and let's create a service key in a BTP account. So you can see here my BTP account. I might need to refresh this. There's nothing there, basically. I did a bit of cleanup yesterday, which was much needed. I was running some services that I didn't need it anymore. So yeah. Okay, so let's create an instance. In this case, we need to select a service that's called the Cloud Management Service. You can find it here. And in this case, you can select different plans. So for example, there are two plans available. The other one is not listed here, but there are two plans available. One is central and the other one is local. Local will only be for your solo account. Central is basically, we will have a view of the global account. So let's just name this, CLI dev apps. For example, CIS, like naming it CIS, dev apps. Next, authorization type, password works for me. Next, and then I just go and hit create. Cool, I have that there. So this will end up creating an instance for me. Now, I need a service key for this. Okay, so I'll go ahead and create a service key. CIS. Okay, cool. I'll create this, and now basically, as you can see here, now this will end up creating a service key for me. Okay, so that should take a bit. Well, it shouldn't take that long actually. But then now what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to download this service key, and I'm going to copy it in my environment. So download this. You can see that I have it here, and let's go back to terminal. Okay, so let me open a new one. I'm going to end up moving this. Move downloads CIS DevApps. That I will move it to basically another directory that I have it here. Service keys, CIS DevApps. Just that will do. Cool. And now if we want to see, for example, that service key, CIS DevApps, the JSON. Yeah, you can see that there is my my service key. Okay, all the details. Now, in case you are wondering, why is it that you're not able to see this sub account ID or this these IDs that are here? right? So I'm using a terminal that's called Warp, and it's very cool. I like it because it ends up like hiding, for example, sensitive data that you have here. So yeah, check it out. It has some AI components in it, like you can ask a question and then it will give you the command line that you need. It's very cool. So check it out. But what I really use it for the most is basically this bit, like just not exposing this type of data here. Although, like, if I wanted, like, I can reveal the secret or copy the secret or whatever. Yeah, so that's very cool. But yeah, let's go back to configuring. I don't need this anymore. Configuring my config, right? So here I have a username, I have a password, and I have my service key. So in this case, I'm just going to replace this with I think I end up naming it. Oops, no, I forgot to. I made a mistake there. Dev apps. Yeah, cool. Let me. I just need to move this aside. Yeah. So this is still a comment. Yeah, cool. Okay. So now, obviously, I haven't set up a username and password. I'll just show you an error. I want you to see an error. So, for example, if I go to Steampipe query, then this will bring me just this little prompt, and now I can start querying stuff. Okay, so we can, for example, check the different tables that we have available. In this case, I don't see. Well, there it is. Inspect BTP. Right. Excellent. Now inspect BTP. No, it doesn't appear. So it's not appearing because I haven't refreshed this. I think I need to refresh it. So let's do this again. So Steampipe, plugin list. Then yeah, it's refreshing the connections and everything that I have there. And now you can see there that I have the BTP connection there. So now if I go back to Steampipe query, then if I do .inspect, then I should, yeah, you can see now the BTP details. So you can see the BTP schema, and now, for example, accounts directory. And here, like this, I can get familiar, for example, with a particular table. All the documentation that you were able to see on the website, you're basically able to see it here. Oh, looking at the chat now. Keyboard looks a tough one. Yeah, it's a nice keyboard called Das Keyboard. It's a mechanical keyboard. That's why it's it can be a bit loud sometimes. Some people like mechanical keyboards. I know DJ likes them. Not everyone likes them. But yeah, it's quite cool. It's very comfy, so I like it. Cool. So now, for example, let's try querying a table. Okay. So for example, from BTP BTP global account. Okay, it tells me. So you can see we already have an error here. It's telling me, okay, there's no, you need to set username and password. Okay, so let's do this. Yeah, there's an error here. Okay, so cool. Control D. I should probably finish configuring my connection, but you can see what the problem is. Here in this case, I need to comment out this. So yeah, it's missing username and password. Okay, so let's say this again, and now if I do this, actually I'll show you something. Like I can actually send a query directly here, you see. So let's do that. Instead of going to the prompt, like I can send a query directly here, and you can see that in this case it's telling me 401 unauthorized. Okay, obviously that's because I haven't really configured a real username or password. Okay, and in this case I'm just going to configure that. So if you bear with me, I just need to type something that probably shouldn't be displayed on screen. So I'm typing a username, yeah, and then a little password here. Cool. I've finished that, so let's go back to my, yeah, okay. So now you can see here that, and this is the cool thing about Warp. Okay, like you can see that I type a real username there and a real password, and I set it up in my terminal as something that I want hidden always, and that's why you're not able to see it. Okay, that's very cool, I think. I can still show you the config that I want, right? So you can see basically what's that. Okay, so I've configured it. This is the minimal configuration that you need. That's all you need: a username, a password, and your service key. Okay, so let's see if this works. So let's run it like that. And this should bring me some details of my global account. Okay, excellent. You can see some details. Now this doesn't look nice. Don't worry about it. I'm selecting everything from the global account, and that's why it doesn't look nice. So let's go back to Steampipe query so that we can interact better with it. Okay, so let's run the previous query. And you can see that it looks much better now. Okay, so in the end, you can see like all the details are here, and this doesn't look nice. But yeah, you can see basically all of it. Maybe this. I'll switch that to down. Yeah, you can see all the details for my sub accounts. Yeah, this doesn't look good on this. But yeah, all the details are there basically. Okay. Let's quit this. Yeah. And yeah, like now, for example, I have all the different tables available here that I can go ahead and inspect. So for example, if I want to know the data centers where this is available, like I can easily just go, let's say select this display name, domain, the infrastructure as a service provider where this is available, and just from BTP BTP data center. Boom, that's it. Like for example, if I want to do with my sub account, same thing, right? So let's do it. Inspect BTP sub accounts. Yeah, those are all the columns that I have available, and in the end, I could just query what I need. So let's say select asterisk from BTP sub account. Actually, I don't want to do asterisk. I've seen that doesn't look that well, so I'm just going to select basically the data that I need. So let's say display. I'll show you something that I like as well. So GUID. I'm going to include a GUID here, just so that you see that what ends up sort of obfuscating as well, like GUIDs. It's quite nice. Where this is available, and then boom, it brings me the details. You see, awesome, huh? Yeah, and I don't know. I need a subdomain now for this. Let's just add it here, and you can see it there. Like all the details are there. Nice, right? Yeah. So this is interacting with the BTP account, right? If you want to obviously find more details on how to interact deeply with Steampipe and the plugin, yeah, I recommend checking out that previous video. Okay. Now, what else can I show you? I think something where the power of this is that we have, for example, many customers that might end up having multiple BTP global accounts, okay? And in that case, for example, in Steampipe, you are able to configure multiple connections, okay? So for example, like in this case, I'm interacting with a productive account, and I can add the details for my trial account, for example, okay? You know what, I'll just do that so that you can see it. So I'll go back to my command line, and now I'm just going to go to Steampipe config. Yeah, and I'll make a copy of BTP and just name it BTP trial, okay? And let's configure this BTP trial. So in BTP trial, I use basically the same username and password, so I'm not going to change that. But here, I'm going to change my key path, which, if I remember well, is trial. I'm not going to bore you with creating an OS service key, so just know that I created it before the live stream, and it's available there. So CIS trial, it's in that folder. And if I go here and just do, I think it should be that. Service. Yeah, there it is. So CIS trial. So now, for example, so that is there will be an error now. Actually, I'm going to show you that error so that you see like the sort of problems that you can run with Steampipe. So what happened here is telling me duplicate connection name, but the files are different, right? So the problem is that in my BTP trial, I didn't change the connection name. So here in connection, you can see that it's still named BTP. I need to set it as something different. For example, here, BTP trial. And then I will not have that problem anymore. You're right, Forza Damasa. It opens up to a lot of automation. So I do see, for example, the usage of this plugin, for example, for operations, right, or for reporting as well. You know, like this is quite cool because in the end, under the hood, what's running, all of this is running over on Postgres. So like you could end up doing some really cool reporting, communicating with a Postgres database, and under the hood is like all interactive with APIs. So again, like if you want to find out more details about that, like I do touch on Postgres and what's and how the communication actually works in that previous live stream. So check it out because that other video contains like the sort of whole architecture of how the command line utility ends up leveraging Postgres, and then Postgres is the one using a concept that's called foreign data wrappers. It ends up communicating with the APIs. So check that out. But yeah, it does open up to a lot of possibilities here. Okay, so going back to where I was, Steampipe query. So now I don't have a problem with the connection. And now what we will see is that if I do inspect, let's see, you can see that now I have a new connection here, which is a schema. But in reality, it's like we're able to query the same tables, right? So let's go ahead, global account. No, not inspect. I need to do, select maybe good display name from BTP trial dot global account. And this, as you can see, is actually communicating with my global account. Okay, cool, huh? So if I need to query my productive account, I just need to specify a different schema, BTP, boom. That's my global account now. And now, what's the power of this? The power of this is that we are able to do stuff like this. I have here a little query multiple BTP accounts. You see, so this query, for example, what are we doing here? Here we are actually querying sub-accounts for my productive account, sub-accounts here, you can see here, sub-accounts for my productive account, sub-accounts for my BTP trial account. I am leveraging the power of SQL here, okay? The power of SQL is what you're leveraging here. You're doing a join with a global account, you're doing a group by, so that we are able to see by display name and by region. We're doing a count, an order by. Lots of these operations, not possible to do them directly in an API. But here, like what's happening is, under the hood is that in the end, it's like Steampipe is getting the data using the foreign data wrapper, and then that data is available as a table for us right here on Postgres. And then this is just your normal SQL query. So let's run this. And as you can see, I'll mention something about caching in a bit. But yeah, you can see here how, for example, it was able to get the details of my global account, the productive account, and my trial account, and just joining here, for example, by region and by and counting, for example, how many sub accounts I have per region in a particular global account. Okay, cool, huh? Very powerful, I think. And this is what I was trying to mention before. This is how, for example, this could go really well for reporting purposes. If you have a dashboard, for example, like, and that dashboard you connected to this Postgres instance, then you will be able to sort of query this live. Now, that being said, about the live component, so Steampipe offers some caching. Like, at least in this case, this is some data that doesn't need to be cached. It doesn't need to be. It's not going to change that frequently. Like, you're not creating sub accounts every minute, right? So in this case, it's like you can end up caching this data, and the cache is only for like 5 minutes, something like that. But then the cool thing about it is that you end up querying a particular table. It will go to the API, get the data from the API, and then the second time you interact with the data, it will be much, much faster. Okay, so in that case, like, for example, there might be an expensive API call. Let's say you want to get all the entitlements for a sub account. Like, that has some nested data, and it could be quite complex. Like, you only have to do that query once. Sorry, that API call once, because for the next few minutes, like, at least it will be available on cache, so the queries will be much faster. So that's cool. Yeah, I don't know what can I tell you more about. I don't know if you guys have any questions. I've been trying to keep up with the chat here. Yeah, in this case, you don't have to leave your terminal. Jonathan, that's correct. Yes, so this is pretty much it. We've combined a couple of connections. We're connected to a BTP productive account, a trial account. So if you have multiple productive accounts, all you need to do, in essence, is configure a new connection. Right? A new connection. So, for example, I don't know, BTP Europe or something like that, or BTP marketing, whatever it is. It doesn't have to have the BTP prefix, obviously, in the file name. Like, in the end, it's whatever makes sense to you. But yeah, it's just a matter of adding one of these SPC files. SPC, I don't know what it stands for. Maybe Steampipe plugin connection. I think maybe. Yeah. So and specify the details. And you can see, for example, how the plugin now, I didn't have to specify any URLs. And that's what's cool. Like, at least in the initial version of the plugin, you had to specify URLs. And then I thought, like, but why do I need to specify all of these URLs? Like, all this data is already in my service key. Like, can I just read the service key and leverage that instead of the user potentially making mistakes while typing URLs? So yeah, and then the latest version actually uses the service key, which simplifies a lot. Honestly, I got the idea, well, because I didn't like that of configuring that. But then here in the plugins, I noticed that there is a plugin for Kubernetes. And in this plugin for Kubernetes, I end up going to the source code and end up checking out, for example, how is it that they end up doing that? Because I noticed that in the config, at least here, all they mention is that there's a config path. And it's like, oh, kubeconfig. So this is reading a file from there. And that got me the idea, okay, I can do the same thing for service keys. So for example, and even because I plan on keep working on this plugin, as I add more functionality or more APIs, like, how BTP is, everything is basically a service key. And for all those service keys, like instead of typing all the URLs for all of them, like, it would just be like, okay, specify your service key and read the URLs from there. Voila. That's it. So yeah, that's quite cool, and this is where I got the idea. Now this is something that I plan on exploring in the future, like connecting this Kubernetes plugin with Kima. Yeah, if you're running Kima on BTP, then this is possible. Like in the end, the Kima service is just a Kubernetes, right? So, we can end up configuring Kubernetes there. And yeah, interact. For example, imagine interacting with your on the command line, interacting with your Kubernetes data here, your Kima Kubernetes data here, because you're able to query everything there. It's very cool. So yeah, that's an idea for a future live stream. I should probably write it down and then share how you can end up doing that. But yeah, so I hope you like it. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, share your ideas with me on. Let me know also, for example, like which other APIs that are available in the Business Accelerator Hub would you like to see, for example, in the plugin. Not every API makes sense, obviously, but yeah, some might do. Let me know, and then I can work on it and then add them in to the plugin so that you can start using them. Yeah, that'd be cool. Everything is in Go, so if you want to contribute to this, you need to be familiar with the Go programming language. But yeah, it's cool. What's else? The benefits over the standard account service API, but after querying group of GL accounts. By GL, do you mean global accounts? I don't know what's the standard accounts service API that you're referring to. Is it just this account services? Yeah, you can definitely contribute to Digi's point. You can definitely contribute to the documentation. No need to learn Go, like the documentation for the different tables. So, for example, if there's a particular query that you think that it will be worth sharing, you can just go to tables here. You can see it's a markdown file, and in this case, it's just a matter of adding a new query. Yeah, so definitely that's a great idea. You can contribute to the documentation as well. Why not? Now, once the change is done, then it needs to go through a build process with Steampipe, but yeah, it should be reflected like in a day or two or something in the hub, for example. Yeah. Cool. So this is it. Thank you very much for tuning in. Check out this particular video that I was mentioning. That's the first live stream, and if you want to keep up to date with what the developer advocates team is doing, check out the SAP Developers YouTube channel. As you can see, my friend and colleague DJ Adams has a live stream coming Friday. He's continuing his series about back to basics with SAP CAP, so check that out. Last week's stream was very popular, so yeah, check it out. And obviously, this is just the live streams that we end up doing, but we also end up producing, for example, the SAP developer news, so check that out as well. It's if you want to keep up to date with anything that's happening in the SAP sort of dev world, yeah, I definitely recommend, first of all, subscribing to the channel, obviously, and yeah, checking out the SAP developer news that we have it comes out every Friday, so there's a new one every single Friday. We also do special editions, for example, when TechEd is around, where we will end up having more than one SAP developer news per week, but generally it's just one per week. Okay. Funny, the comma font. Are you referring to this font here? This font? Yeah, this font. I really like it. It's a font that I found around. It's called OCR Standard. No, I think it's OCR A standard, something like that. It's very cool. Yeah, OCR standard. So that's pretty much it. Stay tuned. I will definitely do another live stream on how to troubleshoot, for example, the plugin in case you run into any issues. We did see some issues today, and they were on purpose so that you can see, like, okay, what if you face them in the future. But yeah, I will do a separate live stream maybe next week, maybe same time, same day. So next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Central European time, on how to troubleshoot the plugin in case you run into any problems. So thank you very much for tuning in, and see you around. Bye.